You know, despite the Seahawks' loss to the Cardinals, it's very unlikely that anyone in Seattle will question Pete Carroll's stature as a head coach. And you know what? Was that cheerleading there? I think absolutely was. But you played for him.
Yes.
And you know, the guy knows the X's and O's. He knows how to run a ball club. That wasn't quite the case in terms of comments that have come out, especially from my old colleague Terry Bradshaw, talking about Mike Tomlin, who he said was not a great coach. He doesn't know much about him, but he does not consider him to be a great coach. Your thoughts about Bradshaw's comments?
Well, his famous line to you was always, you know, JB, that's not funny, right? Mm-hmm. He'd always say to you, well, it's not funny. And if you don't know him, how can you make those comments? And I'll tell you this, because this is what I observed. And I've been to Pittsburgh many times and covered Mike Tomlin probably 40 to 50 times, I would say. And when he walks in the room, you know what you feel like? He's the man. Yeah. You know, when we all played for coaches, they walk in the room, you didn't pay. Then we had the other group of coaches that walked in, you go, oh, coach is here. You get a little tight and nervous, and that's Mike Tomlin. He holds the players responsible. He holds their feet to the fire when it comes to their performance on the field. He knows how to motivate the players, too. Mm-hmm. And he knows how to work the room. Now, look who he's dealing with down there. He's got Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. He's got some guys that got some personality, but he knows how to work them and make it work. Yeah. The psychology, how you work the room and all those things, that's just as important, if not more important sometimes than the X's and O, and I think that describes Mike Tomlin.
I think Terry is just doing what we're supposed to do, is bringing our experience to this desk. And what worked with him and Coach Nolan in the beat down that Coach put on him, he wants to see every coach put on every player. But we are in a different time. We are not in a time where coaches have the type of dominion over players anymore. It's more like partnership with players.
It's hard to be Vince
because
Lombardi.
they got $50 million. Right? You got $50 million guaranteed.
That's right.
I can't just cut you anymore. I have to make sure that I'm partners with you to bring the best out of you, or my job is in jeopardy. So when he calls the man a cheerleader, when really what you are is a head coach that becomes servitude to everybody, because you can't just control them. Now I got to find out what makes every one of them tick.
It's the most important position that a team can hire, because he is ultimately the CEO and the face of your franchise. Mike Tomlin has never embarrassed the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe the one time we went out there and tried to tackle a guy running the ball back and he got lost his mind a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's a quality guy. He's a stand-up guy. You and I have interviewed him many times, talking to him about game plans. He knows exactly what's going on. I don't know why Terry said what he said, but I will tell you this. I played for Pete Carroll. Cheerleader or not, that guy is the most positive guy I've ever been around. And the thing that I probably despise most about the end of my career is that I only got to play for him 1 year. I would have loved to play for him for 10 years because, you know, he makes it fun to go to work. He makes it interesting to go to work, and he's buttoned up. The one thing I will say, you know, in relation to Rex Ryan being fired, and I said it earlier in the show, there's a lot of dysfunction around that team, and that dysfunction comes from the head coach. The head coach is the guy who has to set the tone and keep everybody accountable. And when things are starting to fray at the edges, the owners start looking at things and say, wait a minute, that's my CEO, and I don't like the way things are looking at on the field. And that's why the Steelers are never getting rid of Mike Tomlin. No. He's there as long as he wants to.
My last thing is, too, you know, the coaches, and I learned this, you know, I know y'all hate it when I refer to Bill Parcells, but I got to. He coached the coaches. You know, he laid the law down to those coaches, and I know that's what Mike Tomlin does. He really puts a lot of pressure on his coaches to get it done during practice and all those things, and he does all the other work that you need to
play hard.
You know, what you guys have all described, the various elements, if you will, of what makes a good coach. There's some who are called players coach, a disciplinarian, a play caller, CEO, communicator, motivator. Mike Tomlin has elements of all those. And at the end of the day, we always talk about the numbers. Hey, in 10 years with Pittsburgh, 108 and 62, that's a 63% winning percentage, 5 division titles, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 victory. I mean, leadership shows itself in a number of different styles. You may not like the style, but the numbers speak for themselves, and the guy is effective. Sparky Anderson once told me before, I never talk about another guy's players because he's there every day. Well, you know what? You may not like the style, but the guy is effective, period.